So tell me about, so because I know you run a number of events up and down the country, COVID has obviously affected that. But tell me how else COVID has affected your business and what you've done to accommodate for still being able to continue.
Okay, so first, I think the first point you're mentioning is the Premier Property Clubs, which we have 6 go-to hubs, a physical event, which of course right now they're not happening. So what we've done is we've just paused that for the moment. To be fair, that's a lot of fun. It's really good networking and people love them. And they'll be back, as lockdown passes, we'll come back to that. In terms of our, real property business, what we're finding is, the biggest thing is that, 88% of our deals come from estate agents. So that's a quite large percentage of deals coming from estate agents. Now, right now, what we're finding is that estate agents, they are typically in 3 specific categories. So the first category we're finding with estate agents is basically they've just given up. They got their, how can I say it politely? They've got their head stuck in the sand. It's not their fault. It's just the media. I mean, the more you look at your phone, isn't it? The more you look at the media, what they're saying. I mean, I tend not to look at that more than once a day. Just want to get the facts and knowing what's going on. Because the more you look at it, the more drastic it is, isn't it? It's so sad.
Of course,
and it's quite negative. So, personally, I want to keep away from that. Maybe you listening, you want to keep away from negativity. So, well, my point is that there are agents where, unfortunately, the media has instigated, I believe, the fact that they've just given up. They don't see a solution. It's not their fault. They haven't got any support or guidance. They haven't got people where they can be positive, but not just positive, cloud cuckoo positive, if I can say that, practically positive, where they got real solutions, So they just haven't got those people. So they've just given up, unfortunately. That's the first camp. The second camp of estate agents we're finding are estate agents where they're maintaining their businesses. So what I'm talking about is, the owner-occupiers that, are managing. They're using actually, I really believe the government have really helped. My personal view is with all the things that they put in place. I know the funding's coming through and so on, but there's so many different things that people can get some help from. And, those estate agents are using those help from the government, if you're following what I'm saying. And also what they're doing is they are maintaining their business. So what that means is they have their staff, they've furloughed some people, they've kept some of the key staff. That might just be 2 or 3 members. It doesn't have to be a lot of people for them, right? So there's that. And they are maintaining the business by either phone or by email. And they are doing viewings, but they are doing virtual viewings. So not physical viewings. We've all heard about 360 viewings, which you can have a look at and assess the property in that way. So that's what they're doing. They're maintaining their business. So that's the second camp. Now, the third camp is the one that I love, the third category. And they are people like us. Basically, they just won't take no for an answer. They are, they are concerned. They're not foolish. They know that there are uncertainties out there. But what they're doing is that, we are finding solutions. So these estate agents are very proactive. They love what they do. They love working with their customers. They want to grow their business, and they are finding every opportunity right now that they can find. So this is the camp, I'm calling it, the specific sort of type of people that we're working with at Premier Property, and of course you can work with. So let me explain what these estate agents are. So these estate agents typically will be owner occupiers. So the owner-occupier, the CEO, the founder, the company director, their office is an extension of their home. They see their office as their home. It's just another room for them. And they are popping in. Yeah, of course, they're abiding by the rules or regulation of the land, So they are self-isolating. There isn't anybody else in the office. And what they're doing is they're popping in at certain times, making sure that they're being proactive, doing their, daily tasks and finding opportunities within that. They've got staff that they've got on the phone or by email and these kind of things, webinars and video calls and all of this going on. Technology, they're using technology to carry on. They are doing viewings virtually. Now, the reality of what we're finding, and I'm just sharing with you what we're finding, is they are also doing physical viewings. So these 4 deals that we've done, Out of those, 2 of those deals were done on desktop, and 2 of those deals were actually done by physically viewing. So the way they're doing that, they're still keeping within the rules. So they typically leave the keys at the front of the door on an empty property. So we're talking about empty properties. They sit in the car, they let you do the viewing, and that's fine. And then they come back and pick the keys up, and there you have it. You have your viewing done. So this is happening. There are proactive people like that who are working at this right now. So they're the agents that we're working with, and we're finding that you can get really good deals. Now, one of the things that is helping is that there aren't out there many investors that are even thinking like this, and because of that, you have much more opportunity. Now, the vendors that really want to sell, they've got their properties up for sale, and they want to sell the property. You're coming along, you're offering a fair figure, which is a discounted value, taking in the fact that we talk about the market cycle, taking any discounts that might happen. So factoring in that and just making offers. Making offers with these proactive people, what you'll find is that you will be pleasantly surprised. I'm not saying every single one is going to be accepted, but within that, we're not looking for every single one. We're looking for Premier Property. We're looking for the ones that really work for you, and the ones where your vendor, the owner of the property, and the agent and yourself can actually accept and marry in and offer to be sale agreed. So we are getting sales agreed right now.
That's great. And then that's quite interesting, because I know some people have just stopped doing viewings. Others are sort of moving to, they will go in and do a walking video tour, for example, of the property. And I do know some who are still sort of leaving the keys on the doorstep and waiting outside whilst you go and have a look. And actually, in fact, we're in the process of selling a property as well, and the same procedures are applying. So things are still moving. I know from a development standpoint, you also have sites. How has COVID-19 affected working on sites for you? So from a people standpoint, people being on site, from a supply chain standpoint, what are the effects to the business in that regard?
Yeah, very interesting question, Atuksha. So we've actually got 4 developments and conversions going on right now, all in different stages actually, which is quite interesting, isn't it, to sort of have the different stages. So one of them is actually in London, so that's a £450,000 purchase price project, which we're developing into a £2.9 million project. That one is actually going through planning. To be fair, that's going through planning for the 2nd time, because we asked for just a little bit a bit more. So always a great way to start with.
Of course, yeah. And then work down.
I'm not going to go into a whole training about developments right now, but so we're finding with that's going through the planning process. And the good news is that planning is working as normal, which I was quite surprised by, because I thought that would be quite sluggish with other things I'm going to mention in a moment. But it isn't. At Premier Property, what we're finding is the planning department is working as a normal pace, and of course they are working from home, and we are in contact with the planners. We've had an acknowledgement from them, surprisingly very early. Normally the acknowledgement comes in 3 to 4 weeks later, but they actually acknowledged straight after our pre-application, and as the application went in, they acknowledged literally in 48 hours, which is very surprising. So what I'm finding, they are more attentive actually right now to their projects. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's them working from home. I mean, I don't know if that's them being more focused. I don't know if that's like a human thing or whatever reason, but there's touch wood so far. It seems to be working as it should be in the right time frame. So planning projects. So if I talk about our other development, so this is a development where it's already got planning. So it's 10 units, 9 residential 1-bedroom flats and 2-bedroom flats, and 1 commercial unit. So it's a 10 unit project in Kent. Now with this one, we did a creative strategy. We have lots of hacks on how to do with estate agents at Premier Property. We have lots of hacks on how to get deals done and how you can do deals with no money in, and all these different methods, slightly creative, on the right side of creative. So this particular deal is a creative deal. So it's actually already got planning for the 10 units, and what we negotiate there is an exchange with a delayed completion.
Right.
So we changed on it, but we have a delayed completion, and Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot to that deal actually. How we structured it, very easy, very simple, very exciting. But what we're talking about COVID-19, the challenge there is even though we had delayed it, the exchange happened before COVID-19 happened. So obviously we're in a situation where we've exchanged, so we've got to complete because of course it's a legally binding contract. However, that time frame that we had, which was 3 months, which means that we need to complete by the end of May. Now that has to be extended. So what we're doing here is we're going back to the landlord. We're explaining the situation, and the great thing is, everybody understands. They understand that you're being truthful. You're not just, you're not just buying time. What you're sharing is honesty because they know what's going on out there. So. And it's about having an honest conversation with the owner. So the honest conversation that we're having is, literally need some more time because of what's going on. Because finance is still available, but certain finance lines have actually been withdrawn. I mean, on this one, we're actually working with you, so I'm quite confident that we're going to get that through. But even as you said last week, we just need what did you say? We need a bit more.
A longer runway.
Longer runway, you said. That's so I like that.
Being an aviator, it has to be that, right?
Exactly. So we need a longer runway. We just need some more time. So that's the conversation that you can have with vendors, and actually that's conversations I've been having with vendors where we had exchanged and were complete. Are going to complete, and COVID-19 hit. So it's amazing actually when you can actually speak to people and. You think, oh, they probably won't accept that, but it's just a case of asking. I mean, out of the deals that we've done, 2 of them we had to extend the timeline. This is the third development, we're talking about the third one. So the first one, I said to the solicitor, can you just ask? He said, we're very, very highly unlikely they're going to accept that. I said, could you please just ask on our behalf? Can we just have another month? Because it was a buy-to-let, so it's a small project. And he said, so he asked, and the vendor, the buyer on the seller on the other side was absolutely fine with that. They said, yeah, okay, we'll give you a month. And it's quite nice. I mean, you just got to ask some people and they'll accept. There are amicable people out there. There are amicable people that will actually work with you is what I'm noticing. So that was one of them. Another one, how we did it, the exchange and delayed completion, again, asked for some more time. We asked for 6 weeks and they said, you can have the 6 weeks provided you pay another £500. So, okay, we paid him £500. Didn't really argue the case for that. And we got 6 weeks, so we got that one through over the line as well. And same thing with these developments. What we'll be asking for is we'll be asking for another 3 months, and let's see what happens.
So, in those situations, would you say that having the right relationships in place is really important, and building relationships?
Absolutely. One of the things that my mum in an early age put into my head is that it doesn't matter who you are, because I come from a poor background, that luck does change. And I just think, what do you mean by that, Mum? Your luck does change, and absolutely it does. I mean, I could never imagine that with God's grace, I'm allowed to say that we'll be in a situation where there is lots of passive income, family are financially free, and I'm in a position to actually really help people, who studied much more than me, nurses. I mean, the amount of people I've helped to become financially free and create pensions, nurses, doctors, people working in banks, IT consultants, so many people, just normal people. And, it really, how can I say it? It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So my point is that your luck, whatever it is, can change. Now, that can go both ways, right? Someone who's rich can become very poor very quickly. Someone who's very poor can become very rich. Well, someone very rich can become very poor quickly because they haven't got the finger on the pulse. They're standing still and they're not being proactive. Simple as. And let's be honest, in property, you're going to lose money if you haven't got the correct current steps of what you need to do right now. And if you're not assessing the opportunities, you're losing money anyway because you're moving backwards. Yeah. So people will lose their wealth. And at the same time, people who want to create their wealth also have the opportunity of doing that as well. So what Mum taught me at a very early age was speak to people how you would like to be spoken to and treat people how you would like to be treated. So I kept that one, even in our negotiations, whoever we're dealing with. So like the seller, for example, the seller, we discussed what he wanted. We had a whole negotiation with them. I basically got him to a stage where, we found a match. So the seller is getting what he wants and we're getting what we want. And then we always tend to give them just that bit more in different ways. I'll explain what I mean. For example, in this case, they wanted us to actually take over the building at exchange and take responsibility for it. So actually, that's a good one because we were like that anyway. But they wanted that. That was one of the requirements. And I said, yeah, okay, if I can help you with that, we'll do that. So just by that, that amicable conversation, whether that's estate agents, whether that's your tenants, whether that's people who you look at them and you think, oh, they haven't got any money, but you know what? I speak to them in the same way. And people with a lot of money or a lot of projects, I speak to them in the same way. Same way meaning just honoring people. And what I find is, there isn't an agenda for that because my mom taught me this. But what you find is when you need help or when you need to negotiate, you've got amicable people most of the time where they'll actually listen to you. Just the way of doing business, just my perspective.
Most people are reasonable, right?
Most people are reasonable. Some are not, some are not. But what I just focus on is working with the reasonable people and the ones that, there are people that you'll always be proving to, and they're never going to get it. So I tend to leave them alone, have their own pity party, I call it over there. Saying that they can't make it work, it's never going to work. It's nonsense, property doesn't work, all of that. Let them carry on, because the energy that I want to be spending is with people that are understanding that they want to move forward and they see the solutions, they see the facts. I show them postcodes, I show them in our trainings, for example, I show them postcodes, addresses, I show them bank statements. So there's absolute proof, and I show them it's current. So they're the people that we want to focus our energy on, and most people are reasonable,
Yeah. I'm gonna tell everyone a story. One of the things I love about you, Cam, is every time we meet, you always surprise me somehow, and it's the most random stuff. So I just recall one time we were speaking at an event, and then you came in and you were looking a bit flustered, and you're like, "Atuksha, I've just been mugged." I think you know where I'm going with this. And it's like, Atuksha, I've been mugged. And I was really concerned and thinking, oh no, what's happened? What's happened? He said, just been to the florist.